CD2. Unit 5. Learning Differently. Page 40. A. Close your book. Listen to the lecture and take notes.
Hello, everyone. I think we can get started now. As we have studied in this class, there are many different ways of learning, and there are many different learning problems. Some people have problems with reading, or math, or with expressing their ideas in words. Some people have memory problems. For example, they have difficulty remembering what they hear or read. Other people have problems holding a pencil or pen so that they can write. As educators, these are challenges that we need to understand because everyone deserves an education, and it's our job to promote learning. Today, I'd like to talk about one common cause of learning problems: dyslexia. The term dyslexia, that's D-Y-S-L-E-X-I-A, is from Greek. It means difficulty with words and language. In the first part of my talk, I'll briefly explain what dyslexia is and give you some general background about it. Then, in the second part, I will present one doctor's explanation of why people with dyslexia have learning difficulties. Okay, what is dyslexia? Dyslexia means a difficulty with reading or writing. Before about 1970, researchers thought dyslexia was a visual problem, a problem seeing letters and words correctly. But this theory was never confirmed to be true. Researchers have now concluded that the main problem may be that dyslexics have trouble matching sounds with letters in words because their brains work differently from other people's. Let me explain that. Every word is made up of sounds, right? Now, the sound units are called phonemes. Let's take the word cat. Now, someone who is not dyslexic will read the word cat and be able to break it into the sounds, the phonemes, k, a, t. However, someone who has dyslexia has trouble breaking down the word into sounds, and as a result, has trouble reading the word. There are other problems people with dyslexia may have, and not everyone who is dyslexic has the same problems. That's why there is no definition of dyslexia that is accepted by everyone. We do know, however, that a dyslexic person's brain works differently from other people's. Here are a few examples of students with dyslexia and their learning problems. Anna knows the answer to a question, but says the wrong words. Thomas studies hard for a spelling test. He can say how each word is spelled, but he cannot write the words correctly on the test. Kurt tries to pay attention in class, but he has trouble sitting still and listening. He can't concentrate, and his teachers think he doesn't care about school. Seiji has trouble with the order of things, such as the steps in a math problem, his history lessons, or even his own daily schedule. Susan has trouble following directions. She may confuse left and right. Yes, do you have a question?
I don't understand about the boy who can't sit still.
The boy who can't concentrate in class?
Yes, I mean, how is that dyslexia?
Well, typically, the child has trouble following spoken directions or understanding the steps in a lesson, and so he becomes very nervous or upset and can't concentrate. Okay?
Oh, okay. So the dyslexia prevents him from concentrating?
Right. These are some of the challenges for people with dyslexia. And as I said earlier, no two people have identical problems. Of course, there are other reasons why a student might not pay attention in class or have trouble reading. However, these are problems someone with dyslexia may have because a dyslexic person's brain works differently from other people's. Another question, yes.
How common is dyslexia?
It's estimated that 10% of all school children are dyslexic.
Wow, that's a lot. I heard that it only affects boys. That's not true, is it?
No. Research has confirmed that both genders can have dyslexia. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the problem. But what causes dyslexia? Researchers think that there may be a genetic basis for dyslexia, that the problem is inherited from the mother or the father. This is based on the fact that about 85% of children with dyslexia have either a mother or father who is dyslexic. What's interesting, as well as challenging for us educators, is that these kids generally score high on intelligence tests. But they usually can't read, write, or spell at the same level as their classmates. This can be a problem because other people, even their teachers, often don't believe that the kids are very intelligent. In addition, dyslexics often feel like there's something wrong with them because they can't learn the same way other kids at school can. They often feel stressed and blame themselves, especially when other people say they are lazy and not trying. Many of them try very hard to learn, but still have trouble. In this part of the lecture, I'll present the work of Dr. Harold Levinson, a psychologist who has studied dyslexia for over 25 years. To help us understand dyslexia, he tells us to think of our brains as TV sets, and to think of the parts in our brains that receive information as computer chips. Every day, these chips, the parts in your brain, receive information, right? Now, this information enters the brain as signals of what we see or hear or touch, and so on. Now, the job of these brain parts is to tune in the signals to different channels in our brain. Your brain receives the signals just as your TV set at home does, like it tunes in, say, Channel 5 or Channel 6. Now, if these computer chips aren't working right, they can't receive the signals correctly, nor can they tune in the correct channels. So the signals drift around and become unclear. And as the signals drift, this causes problems. For example, if a child's brain cannot receive the signals on a page as she reads, she has difficulty reading. If a child cannot tune in the signals he hears in class, he has difficulty understanding what the teacher tells him. If a signal drifts, this can also control energy levels, our ability to concentrate, our ability to distinguish what is important and unimportant. This is why some children have difficulty sitting still in class. The good news is that after many years of research, Dr. Levinson and others have concluded that the brain can learn to fix the drifting. Children who receive help often learn to deal with their individual problems and do better in school. Naturally, it's best if the schools intervene and give help when the children are very young. It's also important that teachers, and you, future teachers, be flexible about how you teach and consider the different learning needs of students with dyslexia. In some special schools for dyslexic learners, the teachers read to the students. They don't require the students to read or write to learn. Teachers present lessons in a variety of ways. Students can take tests orally rather than in writing. And reading and writing are taught as separate skills. This approach recognizes that these students are very capable of learning, but need to be taught in a different way because they learn differently. This is a very positive step. So, today I've given you some general ideas about what dyslexia is and what educators are doing to help these students learn. Okay, well that's enough for today. We'll talk more about this in the next class.
Page 41. Listening for details. A. Close your book. Listen to the lecture again. Add supporting details to your notes and correct any mistakes.